my writing, I've always said that we're the father and mother of creation. You know, hence why I've always said to people when they're trying to argue with me, especially my Caribbean people, I'm like, bro, stop it, man. You come from my testicle.
So I just dropped my app, www.ChisoLifts.com. Online personal training. You got custom meal plans, custom training plans. With the training plans, you got a video showing you how to do all your exercises. You could log in your sets, your reps, the weights you use, and literally every month I changed up your plan. In the description, you got a code BESTU20 at the moment. You can use that to get a 20% discount for life. The new Matrix.
I haven't seen the new Matrix.
Okay, so in the new Matrix here,
Apparently it's rubbish.
but there's a part where the guy's talking to Neo and he was saying to him something about like the key of how holding things over since the previous Matrix, the old Matrix, how it's been to hold them in has been Neo and Trinity, and saying that having you two stuck in that system when most people have that option of red or blue pill. Many people are like, you know what? I'll stick to what I've been told. So they stick to the blue because they don't want to come out with the red.
I'll stick to the blue.
Yeah.
You see?
I'll go back.
But you see, because you're scared.
Yeah, you see that.
But why is that?
He was staying in the Matrix because
he
was staying there. He was staying there because it's a comfort zone.
You said you stay in the Matrix.
To me,
because what? You're afraid? You know the truth?
To me, religion is the same. Where I'll say like most people I know only follow their religion because of their parents, where they're scared to go against it.
Take the red pill.
When I've like by metaphorically taken that red pill when I was 13, it's caused a madness. Oh yeah, come church. I'm like, no. Okay. You get me? And everyone's like, why? I'm like, I don't believe in it. And they're like, but you're the one who used to be on church more than everyone. So I'm like, I'm just broken down to history. I'm like, if it wasn't for the British coming and colonizing us, let's say we fast forward and we're still where we are now. I said, if we're still where we are now, we wouldn't have heard of Christianity.
Much better people.
I said,
you wouldn't, bro.
Bro,
if the British didn't colonize, the Bible is spread across the world, and
if everyone was just left how they were, let's rewind back. Let's say like their men were on the boats, they've circled, they've not seen no one, they've gone back. Everyone's just jammed in their place. Technology hasn't picked up.
Yeah.
This is 2022 in the village now, chilling in the middle of the bush somewhere.
There's more people in the village doesn't know about Christianity. There's many people.
We're not gonna. And you know what? Right now, there's a thing in Nigeria, like in Igbo land, where a lot of people are going back to spirituality.
I mean,
it's causing a big.
It is
a big clash.
I've seen even my country where Christians are getting attacked.
Where the older generations are sticking to Christianity, and the younger generation are breaking into. So they're having a big.
I'm not surprised by
that. Let me make a
point. But I think it's a good thing because I think in one sense, if they're gonna be Christian, let them truly understand why they believe what they believe and go for it in the fullest sense of the word, and not just do it because their parents told them to. I think it's very, very important because even I had to have that moment for myself, and where I had to decide what it is I believe and how I'm gonna live my life. And that's why I always start that conversation about where your principles are. But what I'm talking about is in the growth of Christianity, you've seen people who have grown up in Christian homes, and you've seen people who have grown up in everything but a Christian home and still decided to follow Christ. Either way, every man has to work out their own salvation. As far as I'm concerned,
I always say this to people,
Yeah.
You see, what, like, let's say, like, if heaven and hell, afterlife exists, etc., etc. What if we get to the afterlife here, and
you're not gonna fall out, are you?
What if we get to afterlife and all of a sudden you find out everything that you thought was real was a lie? How do you feel?
Yeah, but
where you've
I've thought about this question.
Yeah, 100%. Where you've literally gone your whole life by a certain principle, and man was saying that, these lot who are killers are going to end up in hell. These lot that were in jail for the rest of their life.
It's going to happen.
Then we all come back and we're in the same place again.
So, and I've thought about this a lot. Yeah. And you know what my fundamental answer is?
Yeah.
I'd be 100% happy. Why? Because what happened to me? I didn't cheat on my wife. I raised good children. I tried to be kind to people because that's what the faith brought out of me.
Okay, but you missed out, bro.
If I feel missed out, if I feel like I missed out because I didn't get a chance to do 419, then
you start getting to know the real God
and my own principle.
Bro, I'll be okay. But that logic is crazy. But bro, I'll be angry because You following okay, I'm just saying it if it wasn't real. You following a false God.
You're one of a few who would probably have that.
Oh, you peed off.
A lot of the people who are probably in your congregation will be pissed the hell off.
Yeah,
imagine. Remember the black youngster video where he's jumped out of the thing. He jumped out and he's looked at everyone and was like, "Oh, f you look at that." So basically, the video, the caption was like, "Oh, when I land in heaven." And everyone looks at me like, "Rah, why is he here?" You get what I'm saying? So,
bro,
it's gonna be the afterlife now, and you're gonna be happy, but there's gonna be, let's say, out of 10 people, there's gonna be 9 people thinking, "Rah, I spent my whole life."
Well, then they were being fake. They lived their life being fake.
Let me say
the truth is, and
there's a lot of people.
The truth on that is that
there's a lot of people watching this right now.
Yeah.
Who are those people?
Yeah, and if you're watching this right now, I would just put to you that maybe you're not 100% sure as to why you follow what you believe. But what I'm telling you is that fundamentally, if you have, like, when you experience the power of Christ in your life, there's a regeneration that happens in your heart, where in your heart you tend towards what is good as opposed to what is sinful. So it doesn't mean that you won't sin, but it means that in your heart, you tend towards what is good. So for me, I know that it's still possible for me to cheat on my wife, but the fact is my heart tends towards being honoring towards her and being loving towards her.
This is why
that process is something that I'm not going to regret at the end of. I'm not going to think I could have banged all these bees, because I know now that that's not actually what I want out of life. This is the point of living a life of principle and being sure what you believe in. And if you go only by what you've heard, then you can end up in one of either camp. You can end up being a Christian your whole life and being upset because you feel like you missed out on some life you wanted to live. Or you can go and live a different life and things can go well for you. Or they can go poorly for you. They are all different options in life as to what we pick. I just know I'm happy with my choice, and I encourage people to follow the choice that I've made and follow Christ, because I know that what I've seen and what I've experienced and what I've read and what has been documented over time is that when people are given a true regeneration of their heart and they come to understand Christ, what they tend to do is they tend to start being kinder to people, they tend to start loving their families, and they tend to break away from chains of addictions and all kinds of other things that have afflicted them over a period of time. That's what I've seen, and that's what's known, that's what's documented.
Bro, let me see. What I would say to people, right, whatever your belief system are, right, because I've met some flipping crazy Christians and bad, people that follow Islam and so forth. But for me, one thing I always tell people, right, is like, whatever brings you peace, if it's Christianity, if it's Islam, whatever brings you peace, whatever brings you, whatever frees your addiction, follow it, right?
Yeah.
But
that's the reason why I never tell no one to be like me.
Yeah, but the thing I don't agree with, right? Because I got charity in Africa, guys. Yes, I did. You can say it's wrong as a Christian, because where I'm from, it's a small village anyways. I was doing my charity and I saw, what calling people, they got a pin. They wear white shirt, they got a pin on a...
Mormons.
Mormons, okay. Yeah. White people, blonde hair, coming at SUV, man.
You know what? Going from that, there's these islands here in, like, just off Southeast Asia. What are they called?
Oh, the ones where they were firing
the Sentinel Islands.
The Solomon Islands. Oh.
So funny enough, you say the Mormon guys come onto the Sentinel Islands now. He's thought he could come with Christianity.
Yeah. They killed him
within 5 minutes. They killed him.
Dashed
him in the water.
And it's not the first time they've done
that.
But let me finish.
Those people are still stuck.
Where they're stuck because they don't want to be disturbed. They don't want to be anyway. And in fact, they even live better than life than us anyway. No diseases, no this. But anyway,
finish and I'll tell you. There's one islands that's similar to the Sentinels in the same area, where they've ended up mixing, because Indian people have been coming into their space. And funny enough, you said about diseases and that, because remember, 1,000 years back, people mixing with them has started to cause a lot of them to die out. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So now they've made an area where, in their patch where foreigners can't come into, just to leave them alone,
your diseases.
But what they've done now is they're giving them stuff like torchlights and phones and stuff to help them communicate. Because before, when it gets to, let's say, like 7 o'clock, everyone just has to go back to where it is by then. Because you know what I mean. So now they've given them watches so that they can know what time, and taught them that. And funny thing is, like, they could communicate with these people because they speak like a
Ancient language, yeah.
Ancient version.
Yeah.
But they cannot understand in bits the modern version of, you know what I mean, of the language. But they're like literally, a lot of them is like, they just been stuck where they've been stuck for like thousands of years. But Sentinel, they don't know about religion. So would you say, because Sentinel, those people from that island, when anyone tries to get in their space and kill them straight away, would you say like, due to them not knowing about Christ and all of that,
they're wrong or
you get what I'm saying, on their principle base?
So the Bible makes it very clear that the Lord has already imprinted with us His Holy Spirit. Now, some people interpret that as your conscience, right?
Yeah.
So you have an opportunity to understand some version of right and wrong.
Yeah.
If you've never heard the gospel, God's not going to retroactively hold the gospel against you, like, oh, you rejected the gospel, because you never heard it, right?
So you're saying that someone like me who's heard and stepped up.
So what I'm saying is that every man has a chance to make a choice, right?
Yeah.
And if you come to the understanding that, look,
Yeah.
all of us have sinned, all of us have fallen short, all of us have, even we don't follow our own principles, let alone, let's say, if God said something. We say to ourselves, it's not right to do this, and we still do it, right?
Yeah.
If your version of reconciliation with that is, well, I forgive myself, I'm cool because it was me, but you do it, and now you have to pay justice, blah, 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 blah.
What happened to
then
them
you
people?
already know that you're not even morally consistent on your own plane.
Yeah.
So then you have to ask yourself, should you receive justice, right?
Yeah.
If you believe other people should receive justice. And the answer to that is yes. If you believe that this person killed my friend and therefore that person should have to pay a price for it, well then when you steal from this person, you should have to receive a price for it. But what the gospel offers is not just a way to enslave you to a new belief system. What it does is it says, look, we've all done this, but here's an opportunity for you to have that debt paid off and to actually do something, to have the empowerment to do something better. That's all the gospel is. Other than that, it doesn't change the fact that somehow, cultures all across the world have come together and understood certain principal things, even without coming together, without even speaking to each other, have come to understand certain principles like sexual exclusivity in a marriage, or not killing somebody because you just want to take their stuff, or whatever it is. Like, it will come together and form some version of laws and rules to guide the way that they live. And the problem with that is human beings are innately, like I said on last time I was here, they basically judge themselves by their intentions and judge other people by their actions.
Yeah.
So they go, well, I meant well, so I'm fine, but your action was bad, so therefore you need to suffer. That version is how everybody condemns themselves. That's natural. That's what we see here on Earth. The only difference here on Earth is in human systems is that we can't see each other's hearts, and so what we do is we do what we get away with. So you can pirate a film and get away with it, so you do it. But somebody else gets caught doing something else, and you're like, burn him. That's all the version of this world is. But God, who sees everything, basically says, look, none of you can ever pay off this debt. You've all done so many terrible things in your heart, in the quiet place, in the secret place, in public, whatever it is. You've all done terrible things. Here's a way out. Here's a way in which I'm going to come and get you. I'm going to come and redeem you, and I'm going to show you how to love unconditionally by loving you unconditionally. This is something you're not capable of, because clearly you have so many conditions that you constantly keep finding yourself on the losing end and putting other people on the losing end. That's all it is, bro. It's not so much about like, you weren't Christian or you didn't go to this church, so you're going to go to hell. That's not even the point here. The point is reconciliation with God.
Okay.
You know what I say to people, like, this might trigger some people, and this is no reason why I don't follow religion. I'm like, when people say like God's an all-merciful God and blah blah blah, I always think to myself,
far from it.
And this another thing that I always have against where people are always praying for, especially the material things and stuff like that. I'm like, you're praying. I'm like, there was millions of people who were enslaved. If they were all praying and God didn't come, what makes you think yours is going to be answered? I always say to people that, and I know it's triggering to say something like that, but I always say to them, what makes you...
It's a list of questions that...
Because we all pray, but I'm saying, what makes you that much more special than all of them? Because I'm sure that those people were really good people and great people. So it's like, what's made your power, your prayer more stronger? Is it what? Because they weren't Christians then, that their prayers didn't work for them? Is that what you're
I
trying
mean,
to
even
tell
this
me?
narrative,
I'm saying that if you treat prayer like it's a wish list,
Yeah.
then you can go, well, why wasn't my wish list
Bro, because that's
answered?
what's been sold in
Why
church.
didn't
That's what's been
Santa
sold in
bring
church.
my-
But that's
Well,
how,
I'm not
that's how a
sure.
lot
I
of
can't
preachers.
speak on
Yeah,
which
that's
churches
how a
you've
lot of
been to or
many
what you've
churches.
heard.
Yeah.
But in terms of the scripture, what
Yeah.
the Bible says is that the whole point in what we ask for
Yeah.
is not about getting a new car or getting a handbag or getting a husband or whatever it is or getting a wife.
Well, pastors talk about
The whole point in prayer is that God wants to be in relationship with us. He wants us to reconcile unto Him. Every day that we decide to go out and do something heinous or even just something we think is just a little bit bad, we walk away from Him. He's going, look, I can't be in a relationship with somebody who is consistently doing the wrong thing, right? So the whole point in prayer is you saying, I'm going to talk to the person who's trying to be in a relationship with me, right? And you can ask him for things, but you can also tell him, this is what I'm going through. You could ask for help. You could also say, Lord, I just want to know what it is that you want me to do. How do I make this decision? Blah, 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 blah. It's a process of building a relationship with somebody. Now, if you don't want to build a relationship with somebody, but you just want to bell off their line and say, can you come and give me stuff? Well, then you're not necessarily going to be in the same position as somebody who sits with them, walks with them,
Another question
and asks
here.
for things.
What year was you born?
87.
If you was born 87, yeah, in the middle of Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
do you think you still have these thoughts?
Of course not.
If I was born in Saudi Arabia,
In 87.
that's the thing.
And
You won't, bro.
then-
You won't.
so many
You won't
things
have
that
it.
you
Then,
can't
yeah,
say.
then you've
But you
moved,
won't.
Then you've moved here, like, let's say, like 5 years ago.
Far from it. You won't.
Do you think you would have the same principles, the same views?
Again, I cannot say. I cannot say. Do you know why I say that? It's because I have a Muslim dad and a Christian mum, right?
Oh wow. I didn't.
Yeah.
So does he.
Yeah, it happened quite a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what's
A few of my
going on.
cousins are the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
where their dads
so-
are
I have a
Muslim.
lot of questions about
So
that.
I'm presented with an opportunity in which I can't decide what I believe based on heritage. I have to decide what I believe.
Yeah.
I can either choose to follow my father's religion or choose to follow
Yeah, but what were you taught at
mother's,
home?
or I can choose another one, right? So I'm in a position where I've had to take whatever life experiences I've had, contextualize it with the information I have, and understand what it is that I believe. That's all I've been able to do. So if I grew up in Saudi Arabia, but I was around a bunch of Christians, I might not have ended up Christian. If I was if I was born in the Vatican, around a bunch of Muslims, I could have still decided to be a Buddhist. At the end of the day, there are influences, there are impacting aspects, but I still have to decide for myself.
I always think to myself, a lot of it, I think personally, a lot of times, a lot of it is your circle, your social circle and environment.
No, I think it's a foundation.
Has a stronger influence on where you choose.
100%.
Most of my family are Christian, but I think in my age group, a lot of us have all faded to the same thing where we don't subscribe to
Yeah,
religion.
I think
And
there's more questions
that
now. I
we've
think there's more questions.
indirectly affected each other, where one person was like still following church and thinking, "Right, why these lot don't follow?" And I've just said my thoughts, but I've said, "Rah, don't be like me. Choose for yourself what you
Go off
want
and
to
choose
do."
your own choice. Yeah.
But they're like, "Rah, these lot are happy being how they are and not bothered about anything in the
No,
world
no,
and
far from
carefree."
it.
But still, we follow certain principles on how we treat people, how we talk to people, how we look after people. Where, like for instance, like if I see a homeless person, I would always help. Like it's just that's just me as a human being. You get what I'm saying? So I always say to Christians all the time, like I've pulled away from you lot's faith. I still follow like a lot of principles as a human being, but due to me knowing your word, I'm pulling away from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you said, the ones from Sentinel now, because they don't know nothing. They still got a fair chance of making it to
I mean,
heaven. But me, who knows everything about it,
But what
and
I'll say
pulled
is
away, but still kind of tries to
but
live like a
those-
good human being.
Those ones who haven't heard anything, it's not the fact that they escaped judgment because they didn't hear anything. There's still people on that island who stole someone else's mango
But they've
or
got different
killed
gods.
somebody in the middle of the
Bro,
night.
Something we're not
Yeah, but
speaking
the
about.
truth is
Something we're not speaking about. Bro, we're not talking about this, right? It seems like we're too focused on Christianity, right? We are. We're too focused on Christianity. What I'm saying to you is that
Everyone's got different gods.
I mean, God, Africa. We have
Even
different
in Europe,
deities.
where you've
You know,
got
obviously,
Thor and Odin and
You know, in Africa we
all
have different
those,
deities. For example,
Same
you know,
European had their own.
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
gods. But what I'm saying to you is that even let's go back 1800s, 1700s, right? There was different deities, different gods, in Africa, throughout African village, towns, whatever. Anyway, so now let's say that if Christianity didn't come to Africa, would we hear about? Of course, we hear about. Think about it, Africans. We've been traveling, bro. Listen, we've been traveling for thousands of years.
Yeah.
You know that, right? Like we literally left imprints on the oceans and different. Only a couple of years ago, that China actually found out that they said it's 10,000 year history, but they found out that they are linked to Africa. But it was very hard for them to accept it.
Yeah.
You're trying to destroy Africa right now. But what I'm saying to you is that knowing the truth that the history, you can't dismiss history, bro. Knowing the truth of history. Imagine there's an ancient scroll, right, that tells you of your beginning, but now maybe you subscribe to something different. You can't say, well, that's an ancient scroll, no one cares about it, so you rip it up. No, you can't. I'm saying you can't rip the truth. The truth is, in Africa, Christianity didn't exist.
It did exist in Africa, not in Western Africa, yes, but in Northern Africa and in Eastern Africa.
Wait,
yes.
Northern Africa, okay, give me a time period, because I will tell you yes or no.
The early church fathers, I'm talking in the first century church fathers, a few of them were North Africans.
Well, Christianity didn't start till 300 years after Jesus.
That's not true. Christianity started with Jesus.
Okay, so basically the white. Okay, what are you saying? What are you saying?
Like as a religion.
Okay, so what are you saying? As a religion? As a religion?
Not true. I mean, to be fair,
one second, bro.
Before Christianity was called Christianity, it was actually called the Way, and it was in the homes and houses of, and you can see it in the latter part of the New Testament is the beginning of the early church. You see the church starting in Macedonia, in Cyprus.
Let's talk about Africa, bro. We're talking about Africa.
Hebrews,
Africa.
Rome, wherever.
In Africa, you're saying that if you give me
first century church fathers.
Let's say first.
Would you say religion?
The Ethiopian Orthodox Church outdates a lot of European churches.
Yeah. I know that.
It's inconvenient for your point, but
I know that. But would you say?
Remember,
would you say
Christ,
religion divides people?
up until he came back to Israel, where was he? Where was Jesus Christ between when he was born and up until when he came back and started preaching in the temple? Do you know where he was?
You tell us.
He was in Egypt.
Egypt. Yeah.
Christ was in Egypt.
Yeah.
So the idea that this was all like some version of.
I'm just saying to you, Christianity is not.
No, you're jumping away from this point because you're making it seem like Christ is some kind of foreign concept.
But he's not the beginning of
Africa.
White people. I'm saying okay. Let me make it a bit more. I'm saying to the beginning. Okay, when we talk about everything leads back to the motherland. We say this for only a couple of years.
You know what you said? He said something where I know where you're going to tie to about the beginning. Where you said it started what year again?
What started?
You said the first century.
First century.
Yeah.
But we've existed.
Bro, we're the first.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying we've existed like a couple 100,000 years, like 300 and something thousand apparently, or something like that. So
300 and something.
Yeah, the human race has existed something like that.
Saying by science, by the way, obviously, listen, where's science? Listen, think about it.
By scientific
data. When we talk about, when we talk about,
I'm not going to say we're 2,000 years old.
If you want morals, right? Listen, if you want morals, you can't look to science. That's everyone else. That's a fact. If you want morals, you can't look to science, right?
Yeah.
But if you want facts, right? If you want something that you can't say that.
When you're doing carbon dating,
science tells you what, faith tells you why.
So, but science has showed us that the first human comes from Africa. I don't know why they named the flipping Lucy. I don't know why you should call it Akabala or Ama or But it showed us that we're the first. Hence why I've always said in my writing, I've always said that we're the father and mother of creation. Hence why I've always said to people when they're trying to argue with me, especially my Caribbean people, I'm like, bro, stop it, man. You come from my testicle. You do, because when we say that.
Brother,
no, but when I say that.
Hey, yo, that's fighting.
No, I mean, you're my root. Like,
you come from my testicle.
You do, because you're my root. Because think about it, obviously, especially when I speak to African American brothers right, on Clubhouse. When I talk to Clubhouse, right, they're like, I'm like, bro, humble yourself. You come from us. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to make them understand, what you do, you come from Africa.
You do, but you don't have to put it on them like that.
You come from my testicles.
Yeah, to stick it on them like
but, because you know they're stubborn, it's ignorant. But what I'm saying to you, essentially what I'm trying to say to you,
you come from a what?
Bro, essentially what I'm trying to say to you, right, is that when we talk about the beginning, we talk about the beginning of Africa.
Yeah.
You say you know about African history. Okay, I'm going a bit too deep now. But at the beginning of Africa, Christianity was not there. One can say that the story of Africa is not found in Christianity. It's not found on Jesus. The guy wasn't even born then. He wasn't. It's a fact. I'm just saying.
As in, wasn't born in Africa.
Well, yeah, obviously. No.
I'm not saying that.
I'm just saying that in the beginning of What I'm saying to you in Africa,
physically present. Yeah.
Okay, let's say that our beginning, let's say that we grew from a low seed and Africa is rising, right? I'm giving an little example, right? Even though there are some scrolls that actually you might think is crazy, but it talks about us growing as seeds. Maybe it's a metaphor here, but I'm just saying that Christianity is not rooted in Africa.
Okay.
Would you agree? No, I mean at the beginning. I mean,
The roots of Christianity are in the Middle East. Yes.
Okay, it's not from there. Okay, so I'm just so knowing that the root is from another place.
Yeah.
So what do you think was there? Okay, just follow me. What do you think was there before Christianity?
I think there were.
Is there one God or different?
I think that basically at the root of it, I think that there was an understanding between man and God, that there was something divine and he had to go and figure it out. Between man and God, the human and the divine, that understanding was there. No, then every single tribe created their own origin story and created their own version of what it was to try and make sense of their surroundings. So they said, this is thunder, there's a God that deals with thunder. And then some people said that there's one God and he handles everything. And then some people said everything is God, everything is everything. There was a diverse range of beliefs on the continent, ranging from animism to polytheism to monotheism, all present on the continent. Now, all I think that all of them were trying to do was trying to make sense of something that is quite complex and something that is quite tough to understand from a human perspective, right? And I just think that when you start to get man-made faiths and even the scriptures, I'm saying that all they are trying to do again is the same age-old concept of making sense of the connection between the human and the divine, and I believe that.
One second. See, but I can take you to a place in Africa now, and I can prove it to you the different deities that exist. But I mean, I guess you can call it, demonic, juju, and all that kind of stuff like that. There's realness that will blow your mind. I'm sure you understand that when you go through.
I know this for a fact. Yeah.
But I'm saying, but in your understanding, in your faith, in your belief, you call it demonic, juju, all that kind of stuff, because that's what you see as. That's what it can only be to you. I mean, I'm saying, but that's what it can only be to you. It can't be. Yes, no, I'm saying, but because of your faith.
Yes.
It can't.
So because my understanding of faith is that there are spiritual powers, and not all of them are of God. Not all of them are of His way, and there are. So you see that as demonic. There are definitely entities with spiritual powers who have gone their own way and decided to do their own thing.
Okay.
Well, then I do agree that it's very, very important then not to simply take visual examples, things that seem supernatural as an example of God, but one must be discerning between what spiritual experience is really of God.
Do you ever think like. You see, like how Christians would say there's one God. Do you ever think like there might be like
it's not one God,
a God race?
A God race,
like,
as in a race of gods.
Like how there's a human race, like there's a race of gods.
I think there's a race of supernatural beings, but there's only one that I worship, so only one of them is God.
One supreme God.
One supreme God above
basically
the
for
rest.
you.
Yes.
Okay.
But what if wait like a motive?
Bro, he's start going to Dragon Ball Z, man. I can see his face. I can see his face, man.
No. I was gonna cross over to that where he said there's a multiverse.
I can see him, man. He's like Dragon Ball Z.
That God, that is your one God. There's a God above him.
Yeah, and that's the whole point in worshipping the Most High, is the fact that there is no one above him. And if you're talking to
where he's come with where Jaheem's come with the multiverse idea now, meaning like they might like why I've asked whether there's a God race. Let's say like there's a God race now, and Jaheem said there's a multiverse. Each God's got their own versions of. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Each God has their own versions of the multiverse now. Yeah. So let's say each God has their own version of the multiverse now. Yeah. You said you only subscribe to one God.
Yes.
But what if your God, like I said, has a father? Let's say like in Greek mythology, where you've got like
even in Greek mythology, got, like, there's still one at the top,
where you've got like Odin and that, but everyone else might, you know what I mean? Huh?
Odin is Norse mythology.
Norse mythology, yeah. But you get what I'm saying, like Zeus, yeah, where Zeus is the head, but other people might follow this other god, or they might follow that other god.
Yeah, so definitely when I say that I worship the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, I'm saying I'm worshiping the one who's supreme above all. And yes, some people can make a god, small g, out of a familiar spirit, out of an understanding of a supernatural being. But I worship the one who created heaven and earth, the Almighty, the Alpha and Omega. All of these are descriptions of how he is supreme to everything else that's ever existed. That's my understanding of the divine. And I don't doubt that there are supernatural powers that exist outside of this. I don't doubt that people can make things happen using spiritual power. I just simply decide to choose to worship the one God who sits above them all. That's just how I live my life. And to be honest, one of the reasons why I don't tend to go into a lot of these conversations, what if there's this and what if there's that? What if there's an alternate reality? What if there's one where the Christian Inquisition the Spanish Inquisition never happened, or where the Crusades never happened, or blah, blah, blah. There is always a version of that. But ultimately, what's the purpose here? Is it to get to the point where, because usually when I'm having these conversations, it's right around the time that a man wants to sleep with more women. It's usually that point that he starts going, but is Christianity real though? Like marriage, you know what I'm saying? Like it's right around the time you want to start sleeping with multiple women that we start having this conversation. And that's why I'm like, well, what's the purpose in this conversation here? At the end of the day, right, if it turns out there's a multiverse, blah, 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 even if it turns out that I'm completely wrong, what did it make me do? It made me not kill people, love people, be more integral in my decisions, and raise my family. Like, really and truly, I'm happy. If I got misled into do that, then fine, cool. All right, and I pay 10% of my earnings to the church. Fine, all right.
So with matrix principles now, let's say like, matrix principles now, let's say like, when we die, it might be us using the red pill to check out. So, you know, when people die, let's say at a younger age from an accident or something, they might have subconsciously thought, this ain't the real, this is our time. So, you know, like when people are always like worried about death, where they're always like, this person just died and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I don't have the same.
I agree with you on that.
You get what I'm saying? I don't have the same. Like basically, I don't have the same like emotions where other people like will be like crying for too long, or
I don't think it's the end.
Yeah, I don't think it's the end. So that's why I don't react.
Also,
as
what's your view on it? What do you think death is?
You're moving on to the next place. I don't think it's just
it's heaven.
Yeah, I don't think you just stop existing. I think you carry on to the next plane, but you've bounced from here to the next plane, wherever it is.
I want to get back to the point I was trying to make before, the point I was trying to make, but I asked the question. For some reason, you're still not answering the question.
Which one?
The question of when I said that the beginning, we talk about Christianity, we talk about Africa. I said that when we speak about let's say that the grassroots. Right?
Yeah.
Christianity didn't start from Africa. That's what I was trying to make you understand. And you said that that's true.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Cool.
So now I ask you, well, if it didn't start from Africa, what was there in Africa? You said that, well, there must be.
I did answer you.
No. You said there was
I didn't give you the answer you want. Is that what you're saying?
You said there's a higher power, or there's one God.
I think all over the world, everyone stood there and realized that there's something divine, and I need to figure out what it is. Okay. And they all made their version.
See, but that's obviously that's your opinion, right? But now let me take you the facts, because that's what is obviously we've left. See, with us, right, we tend to leave symbols and so forth, or even one can say scrolls. That's the only I can put it. In my mother tongue, it's a bit different, but you won't understand it. So, but you won't understand.
Every conversation is like, hey, what do you want to have for dinner? I tell you what, my people, they had a version of food. If you truly understand food, you're not going to understand food if I don't explain it to you. But food was something that my ancestors actually brought out of the ground and put into their bodies and then went back into the ground. It was a cycle. You have to understand. Hey, but do you want pizza though? All right, get me cheese.
Hope you like these episodes. Gabriel pulled up late, so he's not in this episode. Next week he will be back in. And stay tuned, man. Some more good topics. Happy New Year again.